Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Vijay, back with another book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the second book in the series written by George R.R. Martin called A Song of
Ice and Fire.
The name of this book is A Clash of Kings. The Game of Thrones is a series that talks about a world called. It's a vast, brutal, politically entangled, and often freezing world.
A part of this world called Westeros.
Introduced not as a fantasy playground, but as a fully functioning medieval society where kingdoms rise and fall faster than you can see.
Valar Morghulis.
And while it's clearly a fantasy world, it echoes of our own medieval Earth, but with some major upgrades. Westeros is essentially what our world wanted to be when it believed in alchemy and the divine. It takes the raw material of our medieval era and asks, what if all that weird stuff like dragons, magic, and potions actually worked? And then the story answers. You get chaos, fire, and a whole lot of betrayal. The first book in the series introduced us to many of the main characters, mostly introduced us to the world of Westeros, the different noble houses. Ned Stark, one of the main characters, was the head of the Stark house. Robert Baratheon is the king of the realm, and he's from the house Baratheon. Each of the houses has an intricate history behind them. Some are powerful, some are weak, but every house has a role to play in this story, the Game of Thrones. The story is narrated through the point of views of different characters, such as Arya Stark, Davos Seaworth, and Sansa Stark, and several other characters. In the second book, George R.R. Martin continues the saga, introducing us to even more characters. The first book showed us the realm, which started to go in chaos because of the death of Robert Baratheon and Ned Stark. And this book continues to show us what the aftermath of their deaths was. From now on, I'm going to be talking about this book, the plot, and some of the main things that happen in the story. And if you haven't watched the second season of the Game of Thrones, or you have read the second book, it would be advised not to watch from here. But if you still want to see the spoilers, be my guest. First off, Robb Stark declares himself king in the north after winning several victories. He is successful in rallying many northern houses to his cause, and he marches on towards the Riverlands. Stannis Baratheon declares himself king, claiming the throne, on the grounds that Joffrey, his nephew, and all his siblings are a product of the incest between Cersei Lannister and Jaime Lannister, the wife and widow of Robert Baratheon. Though he doesn't have the support of many noble houses like his brother Renly does, he does have one most important supporter, that is the Red Priestess, Melisandre. Meanwhile, his brother Renly Baratheon, the youngest of the Baratheon brothers, also declares himself king. He is backed by the House Tyrell through a marriage alliance with Marjorie Tyrell. Meanwhile, in the middle of Westeros, Balon Greyjoy declares himself the king of the Iron Islands.
Stannis and Renly meet at Storm's End, where they face a face-off.
Stannis kills Renly with the help of the Red Priestess with dark magic. Then we are shown King's Landing. Tyrion Lannister becomes the Hand of the King, returning back from his father. His father Tywin Lannister told him to go back and rule as Hand instead of him. He is able to manage the defense of King's Landing. And when the time comes, finally, when Stannis marches towards King's Landing along with his newfound troops, whom he gained after Renly died, Tyrion is able to defend King's Landing and uses wildfire and a huge link of chains to destroy Stannis' fleet and his army during the Battle of Blackwater, securing victory for the Lannister. But the battle ensuing, Tyrion loses a part of his nose and gets a huge gash on his face. For the rest of the story, Tyrion Lannister is almost incapacitated. He gets up in fits and in fever, and George Martin shows his perspective of what happens in King's Landing.
Tywin Lannister arrives at the end of the Blackwater battle and now regains his post as Hand of the King.
Stannis retreats after his loss, and Joffrey remains king. Meanwhile, in the north, beyond the castle Winterfell, Jon Snow and 300 other Night Watchmen travel beyond the wall and get involved with a growing conflict with the Wildlings, or the Free Folk. While scouting, Jon Snow is forced to betray his Night Watch brothers and is forced to kill Qhorin Halfhand. After this, he joins the Wildlings, and here he meets Mance Rayder and Ygritte. He falls in love with Ygritte. The looming threat of the others, or the White Walkers, is foreshadowed in this book. Meanwhile, in the complete south, Daenerys Targaryen travels across the Red Waste with her Khalasar and arrives in Qarth. She struggles to find ships and support to reclaim the Iron Throne, but her dragons continue to grow every day, becoming stronger and stronger. But this fact of the dragons is unbeknownst to the rest of the world, who are still caught up with the War of the Five Kings. We are also shown the perspective of Sansa Stark. After the defeat of Stannis and the death of Renly, the Tyrells joined themselves to the cause of the House Lannister. In order to do so, the Tyrells offer Margaery Tyrell, who was Renly's widow, as a wife to Joffrey Baratheon, and thus Joffrey cuts off his marriage with Sansa Stark. Sansa Stark is later on married to Tyrion Lannister. Meanwhile, Arya has escaped with Yoren, a recruiter for the Night's Watch. She stays in disguise as Arry, a boy orphan. Bran and Rickon also go towards the wall and are in search for the three-eyed raven.
To help Bran unlock his powers.
This and much more happens in this very book.
What's unique about this book is that we are able to see the perspectives of different characters, and all these characters are spread out throughout the known world, thus allowing us to view the whole world without compromising the plot.
I really enjoyed this book, and if you enjoy this book review as much as I did reading this book, be sure to subscribe and like.